Hello class, we're about to start section 3.3 and as shown in your syllabus here, we're to cover page 233 and page 240. Now there is a correction here. On page 240 we're only supposed to go up to problem 12, not to problem 21. So let's get started. Lesson 3.3, buying stuff without money. Our learning objectives is to compute payments and charges associated with installment loans, to identify the true cost of a loan by computing APR, and to evaluate the cost of buying items on credit. A lot of people celebrate their college graduation by getting a new car. Unless you're very wealthy, you won't be plunking down a stack of crisp $100 bills to make that happen. You'll need to get a loan. In this case, you'll be doing what is called installment buying. This is when an item is purchased and the buyer pays for it by making periodic partial payments or installments. There are natural advantages and disadvantages to installment buying. The most obvious advantage is that it allows you to buy an item that you don't have enough money to pay for and use it while you're raising that money. The most obvious disadvantage is that you pay interest on the amount borrowed, so you end up paying more for the item, in some cases a lot more. When you buy a car, for example, you know the price of the car and you're usually told how much the monthly payment will be. If you're buying a car for $12,260 with a $3,000 down payment and are told the payment will be $231.50 per month for 48 months, how much will you actually end up paying for that car? Work through this lesson and soon you will know. Okay, now we scroll down here to the bottom and we have here fixed installment loans. A fixed installment loan is a loan that is repaid in equal payments. Sometimes the buyer will pay part of the cost at the time of purchase. This is known as a down payment. Here are some other key terms used to describe installment loans. The amount financed is the amount a borrower will pay interest on. Amount financed is equal to price of item minus the down payment. The installment price is the total amount of money the buyer will ultimately pay. The total installment price equals sum of all payments plus the down payment. The finance charge is the interest charge for borrowing the amount financed. Finance charge is equal to total installment price minus price of item. Now, those are very important terms to know, and you will be seeing them as we go through this lesson. Now we go on to the next page. Now it says here, now let's take a look at the problem posed in the lesson's opening paragraph. The pertinent information is this: the cost of the car, the down payment, the monthly payment, and the term of loan. What was the amount financed? Refer to the definitions on the previous page. Okay, now, the amount financed is the cost minus the down payment is equal to, it'll be $12,260 minus, and I ran out of space here, let me rewrite this. It'll be $12,260 minus the $3,000. That would give us $9,260 that needs to be financed. Now we go here to number 2. It says, what's the total amount of all monthly payments? We have $231.50, and we'll multiply by 48 months. Now it shows us here is $231.50 for the monthly payment, and the term alone is 48 months. So when we multiply this out, this will give us $11,112. Now we look down here at number 3. It says, what's the total installment price? This is the answer to the question, how much money will you actually end up paying for the car? So this is what we would do for number 3. It's the total. Let me scoot this up a little bit. is the total monthly payment, or total monthly payments, plus the down payment. So the total monthly payments are $11,112, which we got from problem number 2, plus the down payment, which is $3,000. And so we would pay a total of $14,112 for the vehicle. Number 4, it says find the finance charge, then describe what that amount really represents. Now, the finance charge is the total installment price minus the cost. So that'll be $14,112, which we determined in problem number 3. And then that will be minus the actual amount of the car. If we go back to the top here, the cost of the car was actually $12,260. Now when we subtract these, it would give us $1,852. So this is the total interest paid over the life of the loan. So we would end up paying an additional $1,852 for that $12,260 car. Okay, now we go on to the next page. It says here, in some cases, it's a good idea to be able to calculate a monthly payment before making a purchase. Not only can this help you to decide whether or not you can afford an item, it gives you a way to make sure you're not getting cheated when you're quoted a monthly payment. So how can you find the monthly payment for a loan? Using a formula, of course, although to be fair, there are many loan calculators online. Now we have this formula here, calculating monthly payments on a fixed installment loan. We have this formula here. A monthly payment M can be calculated using the formula. P is still the principal or the initial amount. The R is the annual percentage rate. And N is the total number of payments. Now it says memorize the formula and then eat it. Hold on, we're just kidding. Obviously the formula is pretty complicated. You'll need to be especially careful when performing calculations involving this formula. An important note, if you do the calculation in stages, which we don't necessarily recommend, make sure that you don't round too much. That can change the calculations considerably. A reasonable rule of thumb is at least 4 decimal places. Now, one other thing, in your notes for your upcoming exam, you should have this formula here in it. In order to calculate the monthly payment on an auto loan, we need to know the annual percentage rate, or APR. As we'll see shortly, this isn't exactly the same as the quoted interest rate for a loan. If the APR isn't quoted to you immediately, when you start to talk about buying a car, ask for it. Salesmen are fond of steering the conversation toward monthly payments, but what determines how good or bad of a deal you're getting is the APR. You should always check local rates in advance of buying a car so you know what rate you should be getting. Have you noticed that car makers never have sales? There are always events. Weird, anyhow. For the Ford 2015 holiday event, they offered a 2015 Taurus with a special APR of 2.9% for 60 months. If one particular vehicle has a selling price of $27,295 and a buyer trades in an older car for a down payment of $4,500, calculate the monthly payments for this loan. Okay, first of all, the principal. The principal is supposed to be $27,295, and then we have to subtract the down payment, which is $4,500. Now when we subtract this, our new principal amount would be $22,795. Next, we have our rate of interest. Our rate of interest is 2.9%, which is 0.029. And the number of months is 60 years. 60 months, not years. Okay, now, this is all the pertinent information we need in order to use this formula here. So, we will have M is equal to, the principal is $22,795 times the rate, which is the R here, 0.029 divided by the N, which is the number of payments. So you would make 12 payments in a year. Now, that would be our numerator. Our denominator would be 1 minus 1 plus, the rate is 0.029 divided by 12. And this will be taken to the negative 60th power. Okay, now we go ahead, put this in our calculator, and this would give us $408.58. Now, some of you may be a little confused as to how to put this in the calculator, so I am going to show you how to properly put this in your calculator. Now, the calculator that I am using is the TI-84 calculator. So if you do have a graphing style calculator, you could basically follow what I'm doing here. So first, what I would do the numerator, 22,795 times parenthesis 0.029 divided by 12, close the parenthesis and press enter. Now that gives you the numerator, divided by. Now for the denominator, I will put this in a parenthesis. So I will have 1 minus, and then parenthesis, 1 plus 0.029 divided by 12. Close that parenthesis. Then we would take it to the negative 60th power. You would hit this right arrow to bring it back down to the right size and close the final parenthesis and press enter. Now if you notice here, it's a longer decimal, but our money system only requires us to go to 2 decimal places. So that is how we get $408.58. Now, we move on to the next page. Problem number 6. It says here, if the loan was based on simple interest, the future value would be $22,795 times 1 plus 0.029 times 5. Calculate this amount, then divide by 60 to find the monthly payment. What do you think accounts for the fact that simple interest makes it higher? Okay. So if we put this in our calculator, as is, that would give us, as a matter of fact, I'll write that problem out. That would give us $26,100.28. This is supposed to be a decimal. Well, I'll rewrite that. Okay, this is the amount after we multiply and add. Now we would take this amount, the $26,100.28, and divide it by the 60 months. And that would give us $435 for our monthly payment. Now, what we need to do is this here. They ask us, what do you think accounts for the fact that simple interest makes it higher? Now, simple interest calculates 2.9% of the principal for all 5 years. Whereas the fixed installment loan calculates interest on a smaller balance every month as you make payments. Okay, so basically what this is saying is that with the simple interest, no matter how many payments you make, as long as you owe that money, you're going to pay the exact same amount of interest every year. But with the fixed installment loan, what happens is it recalculates every month to lower that amount as you make your payment. So that is why it has the lower payment than the simple interest. Now we come down here. We have annual percentage rate. Many lenders add upfront fees to a loan and then spread them over the life of the loan. This has the effect of making the actual interest rate that a borrower pays higher than the quoted rate. Because this can get confusing, lenders are required by law to disclose an annual percentage rate, or APR, that reflects the true interest charge. This allows consumers to compare loans with different terms. The mathematical procedures for computing APR are extremely complicated, so tables have been compiled that help you to estimate APR for a loan. There is also a wide variety of APR calculators available online. A partial APR table is shown in the following table. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next page. It says find the finance charge. Well, actually, I need to scoot down a little bit here. Okay, it says procedure for computing APR. Find the finance charge per $100 borrowed using the formula finance charge over amount financed times $100. Find the row in the table marked with the number of payments and move to the right until you find the amount closest to the number from step 1. The APR to the nearest 0.5% is at the top of the corresponding column. Number 7, find the finance charge per $100 for the loan described in questions 1 through 4. Step 1 in computing APR. So the finance charge was equal to $1,852. The amount financed was equal to $9,260, which we did in the previous problems. Okay, so now we will have the finance charge divided by the amount financed times $100. So that will equal to $1,852 divided by the $9,260 times $100. And that will give us $20. So now, if we look down here at number 8, it says, look at the row in the table corresponding to 48 months and find the two entries that are closest to your answer from question 7. Then find the APR corresponding to each and use the result to estimate the APR for the loan. Steps 2 and 3 in computing APR. Describe how you got your estimate. So, if we go back here, actually that was on the previous page. Now we go here to 48 months, and remember we're at $20. So we're in between the 19.45 and also the 20.59. So this is in between 9% and 9.5%. So what we would have to do, that 20 is halfway between these two values. So we would take half, we would take the halfway point of the 9.0 at 9.5%, which would be 9.25. So what we will write down here is $20 is halfway between the $19.45 or $19.45 and 20.59. So halfway between 9% and 9.5% is 9.25%. Now, one way to save money on a fixed installment loan is to pay it off early. This would allow the buyer to avoid paying the entire finance charge. The amount of the finance charge that is saved when a loan is paid off early is called unearned interest. One way to calculate unearned interest for a loan uses the APR table we've already been introduced to. This is called the actuarial method. Now we have the actuarial method. You need to copy this formula down here for your notes for your next exam. And also, I'm not sure if I told you this, but you need to copy this formula down as well for your next exam. Now it says here, we will have unearned interest can be calculated using the formula U equals K times R times H divided by 100 plus H. U is the unearned interest, K is the number of payments remaining, excluding the current one, R is the monthly payment, and H is the finance charge per $100 borrowed for a loan with the same APR and K monthly payments. Now, it says as a reminder, here are the specifics of the loan we've been working with. We have the cost of the car, the down payment, the monthly payment, and the term of the loan. When making your 36 payments, how many payments would remain? Okay, so there are 48 payments. You made 36 because they're including the 36 payment, so you had 12 payments left. Now number 10. If you decide to pay this loan off at the time of the 36th payment, how much money would you save? You'll need to do some work to find the value of H. Use the 12 payments row of the APR table. Okay, so this is what we would have. U is equal to KRH divided by 100 plus H. Now, K, we know is 12 because there's only 12 payments left. We have R, which is our monthly payment, which is $231.50. And then last but not least, we have our H. Now again, we need to look back at our table to determine H. Now, if we look back at our table, we would go to 12 months because remember, we paid in a 36 month. So then we would go to the 12-month mark because that's how much was left. So we would go in between the 9 and the 9.5, which would be 4.94 and 5.22. So now we would take that knowledge and we would take the 4.94 plus 5.22 because remember, our payment, our percentage rate was in between those values. So we would add them together and divide by 2. So that would be 5.08. So now we have our H. Now let's go back and reflect over this. We go back here to the table. We go to 12 months because that's how many months we will not be paying interest because we paid the 36 month. Now we look here. We go to the 2 percentages that we originally went to when we did the 48 months. Remember, we went 19.45 to 20.59, which was the 9% and 9.5%. So when we go up here to the 12 months, we go to the 9% and the 9.5%. And then remember, we had to take the value that was in between these two. So we have to take the value that's in between these two. And this is how we get our H. Because we take those two values, the 4.94 plus 5.22, and divide by 2, and it gives us 5.08. So now we can substitute. We will have U is equal to, K is 12, R is 231.50, and H is 5.08. Divided by 100 plus 5.08. Now, when we put this in our calculator, if we put it in exactly as you see it here with the parentheses, division, everything would be fine. This would give us $134.30 in interest we would not have to pay. Okay, now, move on over to the next page. Problem number 11. It says, in this situation, you will surely want to know how much it would cost to pay off the loan. The first step would be to find the total cost of all the remaining payments after the 36. So do that. So we will have U is equal to 134.30. So we know that's how much interest we would not pay. So we would take the $231.50, that was our monthly payments, and multiply it by 12. And that would give us $2,778. Now that is the remaining balance. Actually, we're going to use this U for problem number 12. It says your answer to question 11 is what the payoff would be if you weren't getting credit for unearned interest. But you are, so subtracting the unearned interest you found will give you the payoff amount. So this is the unearned interest. So I'll cross this out, and we would take care of that down here. We know that with our payments, we should pay $2,778 if we just continue to make payments. But if we lump sum it out, we would be able to subtract that $134.30 in interest that we would have paid. So we actually will only pay $2,643.70 if we paid it off after our 36th payment. So that U, just so that you would have it in your notes, you could put that off to the side here. So U is 134.30. So you will know where you got the U from. Now we go here to 13. It says, discuss the pros and cons of paying off that particular loan early. If you were in that situation, do you think it would have been worthwhile for you to pay it off early? The pros, and we could just say a pro, is no more monthly payment, and you save $134.30 in interest. The cons, you have to come up with $2,643.70 just to save $134.30. Now this could be a con. If you have the money, then saving the $134.30 would make sense. You could go ahead, pay it, and then you would save that money. But if you don't have the money, just thinking about it as a con is like, well, you're only saving $134, but paying this lump sum of money could set you back longer than a year. So basically, depending on your financial situation, will determine if it is worth it. And that is it.